Systemic lupus erythematosus, and otherwise known as lupus. Of course, it's Lupus Awareness Month, and it's important to get into this conversation just because of the bizarre nature of this particular, should I say, disease condition that a lot of people suffer from. We've been joined in studio by Dr. Kobna Baini, who is a resident in internal medicine at the Kulubu Teaching Hospital, as well as Edwidge Mensah. She's a Lupus Awareness Ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's get right into it. Let's start with you, Doc. Lupus. What is lupus?
All right. So lupus is a chronic autoimmune condition that has remitting and relapsing episodes.
Remitting, as it's receding,
it recedes,
and then relapsing is coming back again.
Coming back episodes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Do we understand why it even starts in the first place?
So a lot of research has gone on, and we do know about certain triggers. For what causes lupus is still unknown, and more research is being done to find out. But for what triggers is we know, and examples are stress. So basically there is a genetic component which predisposes an individual to getting lupus. So if you have the genetic component and then a stressor or a trigger comes in, then you show the disease. An example of the triggers are stress, certain conditions, certain infections can trigger it. Too much sun exposure can do that. So basically, it's a genetic-based disorder, hereditary, and then there are triggers that trigger the condition.
Now, the full name is systemic lupus erythematosus.
Yes.
In medicine, every name is important. So how is the name related to the condition?
So systemic because it affects all the organ systems, from your brain to your heart, to your kidneys, to your nervous system. Everything can be affected because it's your body fighting against itself. An analogy would be if the military of Ghana starts killing the people of Ghana. Our defense mechanism is attacking us, and that shouldn't be the case. It should be attacking people trying to harm us.
Yes.
So that's what happens. Our defense system.
So instead of defending us, it's now attacking us.
And it makes it complex in that nature. Yes.
So I guess what are we looking at here? There's some images on the screen here. What do we see?
So that is a patient who has lots of hair, which we call alopecia. And that is one of the symptoms of lupus.
Oh, wow. Yes. I see. Lots of hair.
Yes. And then
it's not just general baldness.
No.
Okay. Because I was getting worried.
It's not just general baldness. And then it affects the joints.
Yeah.
So joint swelling, joint pain.
Okay.
Yes, it affects all organ systems. So depending on the organ involved, then it will show as the symptoms. Exactly. And one characteristic feature is what we call the butterfly rash, which is a rash around the malar region of your face, so around your nose, in the form of a butterfly.
I've seen people with things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can present as that. So when you have these symptoms, it's important that you come to the clinic and then we investigate to make sure what it is. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right, before we delve further, let's talk to Edwidge Mensah. Now, you're a Lupus Awareness Ambassador. Why did you choose to be an ambassador for this cause?
Because I'm a patient.
You're a patient yourself. Okay. When did you realize, or when did it come out that you have this?
So in 2021, I think March, on my way back home from church, we had an accident. A motorist jumped traffic and then drove into us. So, I mean, nothing major happened after the accident. I had a few scratches. The motorist was rather hurt, so we got him sorted out.
Were you driving?
I wasn't. I was just by the driver.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was just about it. A few scratches, and then our car was clearly damaged. So, weeks after, then I realized my hands started swelling, my feet were swelling. I I was feeling pains in my knees and all of that, I would go to the hospital. I mean, clearly after the accident, I should have gone to the hospital. I didn't do that. So now I'm going to the hospital, and each time they ask, I'm like, I had an accident and blah, blah, blah. Then I'm giving painkillers. When I take the painkillers, all the other things, I mean, calms down. And then just after the painkillers are out, we are back to, everything is just back to square one. And then I went through that for like 3 months. So during the period, I'm going to hospitals because each time I'm out of painkillers, I'm back to complaining that I have these symptoms. And then each time I go, because I'm complaining that I had an accident, and then these are the things that are happening, they are treating clearly pain, so painkiller and all of that. Till I think the 3rd month, I met this doctor who was like, I think you should see a rheumatologist. And so I saw one, and then I got my diagnosis.
Now, Doc, is this, in my mind, I mean, anyway, it seems like the accident was a stressor that triggered. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it.
That would be
so
it.
that was her stressor event.
Yeah. So that's how it can happen. So you're perfectly normal.
Everything was just
prior
fine.
to this,
no one in my
was
family
okay.
has lupus or whatever.
Yeah. But just one stressful incident then, triggers this. Wow. Okay, so for you, you were a patient yourself, but why is it important that you should lead in an ambassadorial, form?
Okay, so medications for lupus are quite expensive.
Can you imagine?
And you are going to be on medications for I don't want to say for the rest of your life, but I mean, clearly there's no cure for it. So you are taking medications every day of your life. You are doing labs constantly, and that requires a lot of money. Now, personally, I have family and friends who support me. My dad doesn't mind giving me money for medications. My pastor doesn't mind helping if I don't have money for medications. Even my friends give me money when I need it for labs and all of that. But there are other patients who cannot afford these things. And then because of the absence of these things, their condition keeps on going worse. Exactly. And for people like this, it is very important that we create awareness, so that hopefully the right policies are put in place, and then some medications are put on the National Health Insurance Scheme, so that even if you can't afford it, some way, somehow you are cushioned, and life is made a bit easier for you. And then also there's the fact that nobody knows about the conditioning. I mean, people do not really know about it. So you go to work and you are tired, clearly you are tired, and then your boss thinks you are lazy.
Being lazy,
You are in class, and then everything is just all over the place, and then nobody understands you because they do not know. And I'm going to share a very personal one with you. So first semester of school, I was hoping that I'll get my medicals done, and then through that, the school would be aware of my condition. Now, that was delaying, and then now we had to write exam. And then someone advised that exam has a way of stressing students out and all of that. So you don't want to be taken by surprise during exam, and then something pops up, and then nobody knows anything about it. So just make the school aware. So I go to whoever I'm supposed to speak to, and then I go through the process of, I have this and blah, blah, blah. Then with a very straight face, he tells me, I'm the wrong person you're talking to. You're supposed to see this other person, then talk to the person. And then that is clearly not the kind of answer I'm looking for. So I abort the mission altogether. Then I go to the lecturers myself now and tell them, you know what, this is what I'm dealing with. And so I need you to be aware just in case anything pops up. And then out of 5 lecturers for that semester, only 1 knew about it because his wife had it. The rest didn't know about it. And so each time I told them, they had this look, what are you talking about? So I had to tell them what exactly. And so it is important that we create the awareness about it so that people should, when people know about it, I mean, clearly my life becomes easier. Exactly. Hence the need to.
Doc, why is it so, if it can be triggered by something as simple as a stressful incident, why don't more people know about it? I mean, I know about it because 20-something years ago, I studied it in school, in class. So, you're in the university and they say something is called systemic lupus. In fact, that's why I haven't forgotten the name. The name was just fascinating, systemic lupus erythematosus, But why don't more people know about it?
Because in the beginning, that's like 20, 30 years ago, because we weren't diagnosing it It wasn't as common here, and we thought that it was more of Caucasian disease,
a Western disease.
But we do now know that it's actually more common in Africans
Wow.
and people of black descent. So it's important that we create awareness because we do know that with early diagnosis, the prognosis is better.
Oh, okay.
So as compared with somebody who has just one event and we diagnose and we start treatment, if you have multiple events or there's a delay in your diagnosis, the outlook for you is poorer than the former.
Okay, so we've seen some of the symptoms, and how it plays out. How do we treat?
So first of all, we must diagnose it.
Yes.
And there are tests that we use to diagnose. But we do have a criteria which involves both clinical and then laboratory investigations. So there's a criteria. So once you meet the criteria, then we are able to diagnose you as lupus.
Okay.
After we diagnose you as lupus, then we must characterize your diagnosis into what organ system is affected or what stage of the disease it is. Then we are able to manage appropriately. So once we are able to do that, then we manage, and we manage with medications.
Okay.
As she said, some of them are very expensive, even in the West, they're very expensive. So it's important we create awareness so that people are able to support, people are able to know about it, early diagnosis, early treatments, better outcomes.
Yeah. If I have a sore throat, I would typically go and see an ENT doctor. If I have ear infection, runny nose, sinuses, whatever, I know who I'm going to. Who does someone who has been diagnosed with lupus, who do they see at a hospital?
Okay, so they see a rheumatologist.
Okay.
Who is a physician who specialized in rheumatology, which is a study of autoimmune conditions.
Okay.
So there are lots of autoimmune conditions, rheumatoid arthritis, scleroderma, all of them are. So a specialist in that is a rheumatologist. Unfortunately, in Ghana, we have only 2 rheumatologists.
Are you serious?
Yes, Dr. Jifade and Dr. Mami and Mr. Arthur. So there are 2.
Wow.
And they are all in Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We have other doctors who have specialized interests in other parts of the country and are doing amazing things. So we are creating awareness so that people have more interest, go into that, help more people, because we have so many patients who have autoimmune conditions that need care.
Yeah. No, but considering how widespread autoimmune diseases are and the variety of autoimmune diseases, I'm surprised we only have 2 of such specialists.
Yeah, just
wow. Is it a boring area?
No, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
and it cuts across a lot of organ systems. So as I said, lupus affects the brain, the kidneys, the liver, everything. So it's quite interesting. Yes.
What are some of your awareness campaigns, consisted of? I mean, what are some of the activities you've been doing to try and, get more people to be?
So throughout the month, every day we are sharing facts about lupus.
Okay.
Locally, we are talking about how lupus affects the heart. So the whole of the month we are talking about lupus and then the heart. And so we are doing that daily. And then we are, on all the other stations as well, we are granting interviews and then creating awareness here and there. And then there are Zoom meetings as well that we'll have with some of the doctors to tell us the do's and the don'ts and all of that. These are open to the public as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then also we are raising funds.
Okay.
So I'm part
to support patients.
I am part of an NGO, TRY, the Resolute Initiative, and then as part of our activities, we are raising funds to support patients who would need it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, is there like a social media handle that people can, as they're watching, can they get in touch?
Try Ghana on
TRY.
TRI.
TRI.
Yeah.
Try Ghana.
The Resolute Initiative.
The Resolute Initiative.
TRI.
TRI. Yeah. Try Ghana on all social media platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So NHIS, I know, it's not one of the things that is handled by NHIS.
Yeah, the medications. Most of them are on
they're very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, well, I guess as we create more awareness, we can.
The conversation starts,
Yes.
policymakers, we create an agenda, goes up the list,
Yeah.
policy
Yeah.
comes in. Yeah.
Well, thank you for speaking to us this morning. Thank you for bringing this to light. I mean, I know about it, but I almost feel as if it's now coming to light, you know, in a way, just because so many people are not aware. I mean, what you just said about going to school and talking to 5 lecturers and only one of them had it because they had a personal experience, that's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem right there. But thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you too.
All right. So we've been speaking with Dr. Kobna Baini, who is a resident at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Internal Medicine, as well as Edwidge Mensah, a lupus awareness ambassador.